We've asked so much of our rental housing providers over the last year in the state, Madam Speaker, and this bill takes things in the wrong direction. It asks even more, demands even more. It takes away property rights. It cuts up private contracts. Madam Speaker, we need to be going in the other direction. We need to be doing things that protect our housing supply, that protect our property owners, that protect our tenants. And if we approach this with a collaborative perspective, Madam Speaker, I believe we can do just that. But allowing trespassers, gang members, folks who are engaging in illegal businesses, people who are engaging in racial harassment, and people who are doing damage to properties in excess of the amount of their security deposits, Madam Speaker, don't deserve super protections that we're giving, don't deserve a right to force a property owner to renew an expired lease. Those are all amendments that we rejected under this bill, Madam Speaker. Those would have all made this just a little bit better. But fundamentally, Madam Speaker, the fundamental issue behind this policy and the problem with it is that we continue to ask too much of our rental housing providers. We continue to put the burdens on them to go through complicated and expensive legal proceedings with uncertain outcomes, Madam Speaker, when all they're trying to do is run a business and take care of their families.
It is not our right as the government to take away these landlords' rights, their property rights. That is unconstitutional. Madam Speaker, if this bill passes, it will drive small landlords, mom and pop landlords out of the market. They won't be able to afford all these mandates, regulations, and the financial outlay that it's going to take to be able to comply with all of these new regulations and policies.
This bill ultimately will make it so that people will no longer want to rent anymore. They will sell those homes and our housing crisis will get worse.
This bill will further stress the housing market in this state. And Madam Speaker, we can't use the awesome power of the state to micromanage private contracts between individual parties. That's the fatal conceit when we tell ourselves we can manage individual agreements better than the individual parties to the agreements. We open ourselves up to all kinds of unintended consequences, mostly bad.
This bill is treating a symptom of years of failed policy that hasn't created needed housing inventory on the backs and the shoulders of property owners and landlords.
If you decrease the amount of rental properties available out there, that doesn't do anything to help the homelessness situation. This bill does not provide any rental assistance, which would help the homelessness situation. This is not addressing any of the underlying problems that we need to, Madam Speaker, and for that reason, I urge you to vote no on this bill.
The intent of this bill here today is to protect residential tenants, and I hope.
Would the member please not speak to intent? Please proceed.
I apologize, Madam Speaker, was just referring to the first line of the bill that says it's about protecting residential tenants. And I hope that this bill does just that, and that the members of this body can come back next session and we're able to say, aha, we figured it out. We now have more units. We have more property owners offering their properties up and offering up affordable housing that is meeting the needs of the people of Washington. But I'm afraid, Madam Speaker, that this bill is not going to do that.
We don't need this policy today. Madam Speaker, we've heard that landlords want to evict tenants. It couldn't be further from the truth, Madam Speaker. There is a nexus, there's a symbiotic relationship between tenants and landlords. We need each other. We need each other for the housing continuum. And we've heard so much on this floor in the last many hours about this. I appreciate the gentlelady from the 43rd and her passion. We share a common passion. We share a common passion about providing housing and making sure that both landlords and tenants are protected. But Madam Speaker, I believe this bill just goes too far.
We are all concerned about homelessness. We're all concerned about discrimination. We're all concerned about the tight rental market. But I think that as with many of the policies that we pass trying to fix things, that this is going to have the exact opposite consequence of what we think. What's going to happen here is we're going to have fewer rental properties for people, and we're going to make the rental housing market even tighter.